I was an illustrator in South Korea for a number of years, and while I was there, I got really interested in the street art scene that was there. They did a lot of character work and a lot of work that felt similar to things I was doing in my sketchbook, and I was able to like reach out to them and build a relationship with some of the artists there, and they showed me the ropes and just kept painting on walls from there on out. So it's been about 16 years now. Murals.
Weird. Paint Memphis in Memphis. I have heard art is a luxury, and I think that's bogus. And it's a necessity. Art is something that is just part of being a person, part of being on this planet, and being. I truly believe that being creative is like our inherent human power, and so many people don't foster it because society doesn't foster it. And so when you bring public art to a place where it's for everybody, I think it really changes the scope on like what art can be and what you can, how you can experience it.
I'm gonna be painting the portrait part of my piece today. I'm painting like an Aztec Mayan queen, a princess. So that's what I'm painting. That's my style. Like majority of my artwork is like Mayan and Aztec based, like the roots. I'm Mexican, so I always try to pay homage to my roots, where we're all from, for Mexican people. I'm an aerosol artist. I consider myself a mixed media artist because I do a little bit of everything. And when I paint my murals, I don't just use spray paint. I use brushes, chalk line, whatever I can get a hold of.
My name's Pilot. I'm from Houston, Texas area. Just painting a graffiti piece. My newer pieces are all like, the idea is to make them kind of look like glass or chrome. Really, because I haven't really seen anybody do anything that looks like glass that's actual like wild style graffiti. So it's hopefully gives it a different feel, you know. I doubt it's original because nothing's original anymore, but you know, I haven't seen it yet. So the P's right here, like you see the swoop right here. The I is this piece right here, and the dot's up there. The L comes this way, back this way, and then kicks out and then back. The O is pretty easy to see right here, and then the T. If you kind of like focus on the yellow part, it helps it stand out. Second time to Miami. Last year I came for the first time, and I painted with some of my former crewmates at the Museum of Graffiti. We did a wall over there. It's still there, so I was kind of surprised and happy to see it, you know, that they let it run for, you know, over a year, because I know that those walls are in very high demand. So part of the mural festival, so I literally got the wall very, very last minute. So he told me about 15 foot, and I was like, I got here and I'm like, no, that's more than 15 foot. But I'm just getting whatever I can with this ladder. Last year I fell at another mural festival in Houston, and I shattered my elbow, like destroyed it. So it's all metal in there now. So my days of doing risky, you know, climbs and hanging off of stuff, like I'm 45 years old, dude. Like I don't bounce anymore. It's like a thud and a crack. So I've traveled around the world. I've done some of the largest like graffiti murals ever done. Just last year I did a 11-story building in Siberia. Oh damn. Me and some guys did a 20-story building right outside of Moscow one time. First time I was there, we were doing a 20-story building, and I don't know if you know, 20 stories is bigger than anything that's here, and that'll make you pucker up, you know. They supply everything, so it's all the Russian government basically pays for me to go over there and pays for everything. So, which is ironic because they let me do like big graffiti pieces. So last time I went there, I painted like a huge bird, and then underneath it was like a big graffiti piece that was like 4 or 5 stories tall. So it's pretty awesome. Yeah. And then me and Hef painted two 11-story buildings with a mural with the kid with a can behind his back, like he's painting a wall, and it's 2 buildings where it comes together, and you can actually, we put this perspective to where when you stand there, it looks like the wall just keeps going into the other wall, and the kid's painting graffiti on the wall. And that was the whole premise of the whole mural.
I was born in New York, but I live out here, yeah. I've been painting for about 16, 17 years. Artist name is Last Wave. So the numbers are like just a replacement of the letters. As far as like the 1 is a L, the 4 is a A, the 5 is the S, and the T is the 7. So say last way like that. Well, I'm painting for the Wynwood Mural Fest, and the festival has been going on for the last 7 years out here in Wynwood. It's pretty grassroots, like just like local curators that bring people from all over the world to come over here and paint. And they had a lot of love for the locals and the people out here. So block, then this is the block on 23rd and 5th over there. This is the old one-up wall. They have artists like Whitney Holborn and Dreps and John Array and a couple other ones out there. Then you got people painting over here in the RC Cola plant, which is it's like the heart of Wynwood right here. RC plant right now used to be like a pennant. It used to be like a little illegal spot that we used to go and paint back in the day. And then it was bought out by Mana Contemporary, so then they have shows there, and they made it into like a convention center kind of vibe. But sometimes they bring artists in there to paint. But for the most part, it used to be like a place where you used to go just like practice and like just get up. My boy Luch, my boy Separate, I used to just paint in his backyard. He used to do graffiti with FTC crew, and he got me into it. So I started painting in the streets with him, and just went from his backyard to then going to pennants, going to abandoned spots and painting and shit, and then from there going like starting murals. And
it was dope. He showed me a lot of love when I got down here. When I first came down here for real, and if it wasn't for this fool, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I'd be somewhere else. I'd be lost without a map and no GPS.
Well, I've just been on a stained glass kick for the past year, so I kind of like stayed within that vein, and then we try to go to places and make them site specific. So not that alligator was any really genius thing for Florida, but it works because we're not here. So I figured I would take the stained glass tear that we've been on and kind of continue it and incorporate an alligator for down here. I started maybe like a year or two ago, but like we hoofed it through a lot of large murals. This year, I mean, I don't even know, maybe total, because then I weave in and out, like there's a lot of plant-based and floral-based, but then I started to weave in the stained glass, so maybe this year 7 to 10, that might be a high number, but they've been large. I probably more than I have. I didn't realize, because I got the picture when I was in Brooklyn, so I didn't realize the wall was as big as it was. This is my first time using Cobra, so I got a mix and match of both of them because the high pressure had some colors that I needed, but I'll probably have to bleed the cans before they work for the background. But I grew up in the woods and was like an acrylic painter, so I just kind of skipped the graffiti. I only met graffiti people once I became like a street artist, but letters were like never my thing. I wanted them to be, but they just weren't, so I just skipped it. My father is a graphic artist and my mother is a teacher, and again, I grew up in the woods, so I think the combination of a lot of hands-on stuff and like anything I wanted to do was encouraged. So like my mom being a teacher and me liking, art stuff was always just kind of encouraged. So it just started from, since I was like 2. So that went from like cartoons and sketching and painting, and then it eventually went to spray paint. Wynwood Murals got in touch with me because we've been coming down maybe the last 8-10 years, and in that I've befriended a lot of artists. So, it's more so one of those situations of who you know. Luckily in that time I've begun to paint better, so I shouldn't have been given this wall 10 years ago. So I just think my style evolving over time, and then having so many friends down here, like I have a couple friends that live down here. So last year they gave me a wall, and then it just kind of has evolved, and then this year they gave me a bigger wall in the festival. So.
I write They Drift, I'm UH, Under Hypnosis Up High crew, Lord's crew from the Bay. These are both graffiti street art crews that have been around for a long, long time. One is from the South, and the other one is from Oakland, San Francisco, from the Bay Area. Mostly just a bunch of guys that have been painting forever, super talented people, and I was lucky enough to get brought into Lord's crew off top by a couple friends, and been honored to be rocking with them for the last couple of years, actually. So I have my homie Zeos, Kango. They are Pacific Northwest people. I've been in Portland and Seattle for the last 18 years at this point. Met up with those guys out there. Those guys have been down with the crew for a while, and they saw something in me, and they were down to bring me into the group, and I was honored. So after only being UH for about 20 years, I actually joined another crew, and now I've been rocking with them since. UH started in 2002. It was just a small group of 3 people, actually. It was me and 2 other riders who aren't really involved anymore. And I just kept going with it, and we've been able to spread from Memphis through California, through the Pacific Northwest, different parts of the world. We've got a great crew now, and we just keep multiplying. And we've got, as I get older, the younger guys come in and they hold it down, and super hyped on that, to be honest with you. There's so many of us, I haven't met all of us at this point. I'm sitting here painting at the tattoo house in Miami. I was contacted by them. They saw my work online. They saw me on Instagram. They hit me up, and they were wondering if I would want to paint the front of their shop during Art Basel. Offered the inside of their shop to paint, and ended up having a gallery space. So we were able to connect. We have the link up out here this tomorrow, which is going to be Friday. We have a great group of artists coming out to be a part of it, and it's going to be a dope show, actually. It's just a fractured face. So my art, my murals at this point, my art, personal art, is portraits. I like to fracture them, break them up a little bit, give them a funky style. A little trippy is what I like to call it. And it's just, building my own style off of my brand, which is They Drift, kind of like your brain's drifting away, and it's just kind of, I'm painting that picture for you. I did, and I still write letters. I started off as Foes, UH crew back in the day, and as I started merging my art with my graffiti and street art, I just merged it all into one, and I became They Drift, and at this point, I've just been running with it for about the last 12, 13 years. So yeah, I just went with that. It's more of an original name, and it stands out a lot more. I was trying to keep it separate forever. I was doing my art on one, doing my graffiti and my street art on the other. And at one point I just realized, just bring it all together and let's see what we can do. And I just started cooking.
Hi, my name is Alina. I'm the owner of this Miami location. We also have 3 tattoo shops in different states, in Illinois, in California, in San Francisco, and here in Miami. We are focused on something, different. We don't want to be just a regular tattoo shop. That's why we opened this location and invited a lot of artists. So you can take a look at our gallery. This is our first experience. We haven't been, first location based in Naperville, so which Illinois State. It's kind of quiet space, but a lot of artists there. We usually find the most experienced artists, so you can visit us there. I started selling portraits. I made really good money, and I bought my tattoo equipment because I sold a lot of art. Okay, my idea is invite a lot of people, different people, photographers, videographers, artists, so they can share their art, their experience, and interesting moments. This is for free, so I do not charge them. I do not charge any percentage because I'm focused, on attracting a lot of people, just making noise around my tattoo shops. Hello, my name is Natalia Kryshchenko. I'm from Ukraine, from eastern part. I came to United States 3 years ago, and now I live in Miami. I'm a dancer. I have so my foundation is ballet foundation. I'm from very small village, tiny, and I used to dance since my 4 years old, and folk Ukrainian dance, and professionally we can say it took like me 16 years, and after that I stopped. War started in my country, so I escaped. I came here, and in the United States, it's the country of opportunities. So I decided to I decided to make my dream, my big dream of all of my life come true. And I started to dance here again. Professionally, now I'm a dancer and performer based out in Miami. I do it more than a year and a half, year and 7 months. I teach classes all over the Miami. I perform at 11 at a few famous venues in Miami, and I'm spreading the word of dance. Mostly I teach women, but I also have a male at my class, because I think dance is a big part of you can create with your own body. You hear the music, you feel the beat, and you can paint your art with your body.
My name is Nick Naka. I'm a photographer, commercial photographer, doing mostly product and still life work. It kind of goes back all the way back to high school. I took an art class and I was just interested in it, but it seemed like took me forever to create a painting or a drawing, and I wasn't really that good. So I thought, I want something a little faster, a little more instant gratification. So I took the photo class there at the high school, and the instructor was great, and it was really inspiring and really taught me a lot about being a stickler for detail. Really was a great start to my career, but and I knew then I wanted to be involved in the industry. Well, actually, I started off, the plan was to open my own photo lab, and that was photography was more of a hobby, but I was working a camera shop in El Cajon and working in the black and white lab. And like I said, my original plan was to open a photo lab. I had cameras, and my friends knew I did photography, so they started asking me to shoot portraits. So, local bands started asking me to do their band promo shots. Just realized, oh wow, I can really actually being a photographer. And so I kind of quickly ditched the photo lab idea and started to really just focus on photography. So as far as gear goes, I really started out with, like most photographers, I started out with one camera and one lens, and then, quickly, switched to, got a backup camera, because, professionals always have backup. And back then too, this is back in the film days, a lot of projects, you needed to shoot black and white and color. The clients wanted both, a lot of times for black and white for the less expensive reproduction, gathering some lights, and at that time it was mostly just strobes, flashes, on-camera flashes, and studio strobes. And that was kind of the beginning. And the advantage at that time to doing the product photography was a lot of companies needed somebody on a regular basis. So instead of just a one-off job here and there, I was able to get some, regular steady work, which is, when you're starting out as a photographer, it's really important to have that steady gig. Originally from the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, San Diego, when I was pretty young. I was probably about 10 years old when we first moved here. Well, like I said, I started out being as a generalist, and like most photographers, I was working out of my house. Having the studio really was a real motivational moment for me, to where I said, okay, I have this space. Now let's start hustling. And it kind of got me off my butt, and I did a little more hustling to get more clients. And at this point, I was still pretty much a generalist, but I had a studio. And when product clients realized that I had a studio, that's when they started kind of finding me. At the time, I was still doing a lot of band promo shots. So, what's great about me working with musicians is they're super creative, and they're really creative working with you and collaborative. And, it was kind of fun to be able to, collaborate with them and really, create something really special that was unique to that band and their sound. And then as I was doing bands, I think then that's when we, Hotspots, I met you, Gary, and also at the Dark Room, which was owned by our friend Dave Laird, which was a really great meeting place. I met some of my best photo and creative friends there. And then the next place I met photographers and creative friends was Chrome, the E6 lab that was owned by Dennis Ryder. Between those two places is really where I met a lot of the community that I was kind of looking for, because I didn't really know very many people then. But that's how I got hooked up with Hotspots magazine. I did a couple covers for them. I did some editorial shots for some of the the highlights or the articles they would do on different bands. And because I was I was doing that kind of work, I was chosen by the editor to do some assignments. Like most editorial, it wasn't a big budget, but it was fun, and and the key thing is it was creative. Editorial, especially with Hotspots, you could kind of shoot however you wanted. You could really, it was really your vision that you got to capture when you're working with different artists. So that was very rewarding to be able to do that kind of work. I really got lucky because I did have some good word of mouth clients to start with. But those days, really the best way to market yourself was to do other than networking, going to events, we would do mailers. We'd do postcards with an example of our work, sometimes 8.5 by 11, something larger. And so I tried to build a mailing list. And it was really hard then to build a mailing list because there was no internet. You had to go to the library and get lists. You could get some business lists there, but a lot of it was just kind of building my own list to mail promos to, from clients. I would ask clients, hey, do you know anybody else that would need photography? Whatever. A lot of it is networking and meeting people. But like I said, I was really fortunate that right around the same time I started in the studio that I got some good, decent clients right at the beginning that kept the bills paid and allowed me to stay at the studio. It seemed like when you're trying to light products in the studio, you have to shoot Polaroids, which are very wasteful and not good for the environment. You'd have to shoot Polaroids and look at that to evaluate your lighting. Then you would move your lights, get it, and then you would go ahead and shoot your film. And there was always, to me, some kind of a compromise. Like I could never get the lighting exactly the way I wanted to. It was always a little frustrating. And I tested out this theory where I lit a product, then I moved the light with one light, still life set, just a close up. And this was a scanning camera. It worked just like a desktop scanner, so you could only do products with it because it would do 30 seconds or a minute to scan, but it was still pretty good quality. So I lit one side of this product, and then I lit the other side, and then so I did like 3 or 4 shots. Then I was able to go in Photoshop and with layers, and I was able to paint in the light exactly where I wanted. And I went, that's it. This is for me. I'm going to be able to deliver what clients want directly to them. Then I'm also going to be able to deliver a better quality product because I'll be able to do a better job of lighting, especially if it's a reflective subject, something that normally would be really hard to photograph traditionally. And that wasn't quite as expensive. That was, and then, I had to use hot lights on the subject because we didn't have LED lights then. So I used incandescent bulbs. It was a really kind of a weird moment as far as the market and my peers. So here all the clients are wanting digital and loving it, and all my competition was fighting it and not wanting to and even invest any Since then, everything's digital now. All the manufacturers make digital cameras. But back then, there was only really a handful of choices. And, it's not that long ago, right? It's only, it was like 2000, 2001. But I was making these lease payments and everything went really well. And then eventually it got to the point where Canon and Nikon and these other manufacturers started the quality of their digital cameras started improving. Then I was able to just switch to that and not have to get these super, super expensive ones to really take this process, which I call layered lighting, and apply it to people as well as still life, and then create motion for both.